This is my first plaster job back post open heart surgery with my pacemaker. So this is 1888, I believe, right? So we've been working on this for 40 years, restoring these plaster walls. So I want to explain to people about this. Look how flat. So when you're tearing this had, of course, the beautiful, incredible, let me get it, wallpaper. And this isn't just your normal wallpaper. These paper hangers, some of it, like in there, they would actually hand paint into the wall. Literally, they would have an easel and paint. Now this is beautiful, but it's nearly impossible to get off, right? Yeah. So they finally figured it out here and steamed it off. So that's the way to do it. So when you're trying to get it off, these walls, 140 years old, look at them. You think those guys were craftsmen? We're out here on the Western Desert, out by the Great Salt Lake. It's a masterpiece of a house, and they've been working on it for 40 years to restore it authentic, which is not easy, but they have the hardware, the ballasts, all of it. So once you get it to that point, the marble finish, it's this. If you could save the integrity of these walls, and you could patch the integrity of these walls up, then you can see how sand finish it is. People argue with me all the time. Look how sand finish it is. Though they left it that way for a reason. They left it that way for a reason so the finish bites, grabs. They used to use what they call moose milk, which is animal blood. I'm not kidding. When you tear these apart, a lot of times you'll see hair all over them. You know what that hair is? That's animal hair. Horse hair off the mane. So when they would slaughter animals, they would save the blood, and that's what they used for glue. It's called moose milk, they would call it, but it wasn't. It's actually off then the hair off the mane, they would mix in with the plaster. It used to come in bags. When I first started plastering down there at Hanson's, they still sold. There was still some of the bags of horsehair. I was allergic to it. And so they would mix it in the plaster. And so once you have these walls intact, you can patch them up. It's really easy to patch up. Anybody can do that if they're in good shape. But this is over brick, Adobe brick. Now, some of the brick was fired, but most of this brick interior is Adobe. They made it right on site. So I took a brick off this and put it in a 5-gallon bucket. It was so dry, it sucked up about 4 gallons of the water. They get porous and dry, so your Adobe, the rain helps it out, but that stuff lasts forever. We've found Adobe bricks that are 10, 15,000 years old in the Middle East, and you know how hot it is there. So it's all about the integrity of this base coat. And these guys were masters, and it blows my mind what integrity. Now, we've had earthquakes here. So, yeah, so for that 140 years, I think one earthquake in the day was 6 points something. It cracks walls. So what? Who cares if you got a cracked wall? The integrity of this, so it's all about the integrity of the base coat. And people want to come in and put sheetrock over the top of them. Fools. That's like painting over a Rembrandt. That's exactly what it is. It's like painting over a Van Gogh. Fools. These guys were masters. So I'll show you how I'm doing this. Here, hold that if you would. Thank you. We want to get a record. We've been keeping a record over, since the digital era was born, but this restoration project's been going on since the early 80s. Thank God it got left over the years, because most of them, somebody along the line comes along and somebody gets smart. That's the answer here, especially in Ogden, Utah, like West River Elementary. Leslie Hod's a masterpiece. I just tear it down, throw it down. That's so lazy. it's not even just lazy as a craftsman. It's lazy as a historian. It's lazy as a educator. It's just, it's pitiful is what it is. So we, you know, the secret sauce here, I call it. We want some depth to this, you know, and I'm not a big polish guy. We can polish this after it's done. You could color it, of course, you know. Venetian, oh yeah, this is about as Venetian as it gets. But we're not going to color this, which you can. And everybody says, well, you'll see guys polishing. I don't polish because I know how to use a Hawk Trowel. So, this is the art, is the Hawk Trowel, which takes decades to learn. So I'm in Italy. These guys, there ain't no American who's had plaster. I was there for months and I kept walking by these plasters, having coffee with them in the morning. I'm like, oh, I know how to plaster. I'm like, who do you think taught me? This place is nothing but first and second generation European. This is the great artisan city. Utah's probably got to be the greatest artisan city, one of them in American history. And so I got up there on the mudboard. He got sick of hearing me. He says, come on, get up here. Hit this mudboard about this big and give me a blade about that big, and I'm just flying across the walls. And he's like, oh, he says, I've never seen anything like that. So he says, you want a job? I said, don't threaten me with a job. So they're going to paint over this one, which these people this is fine to paint over this. I really like the painting because it makes a nice look. But as far as the painting over brick, painting over rock, you should be in prison. Anybody that does that should be arrested immediately. I go back to that Conoco station on Riverdale Road, right there where you turn. I worked on that movie. That Weaver granite, what a masterpiece. And they, at the bill in the early 80s, during the Reagan Depression, was over 100,000. Just grand. They come over and put $3,000 of paint over. Once you paint over, it's over. It's like the old Safeway on 24th and I know that guy hired me to plaster over it. I said, I'm not putting $10,000 worth of plaster over a multi-million-dollar rock chip, giant green granite. And he did it, and then they tore it down. I said, there's foam over that. They put styrofoam over it. I said, it can be saved. That rock, millions and millions of dollars of the rock. What did they do with it? Threw it in the dump. Same with West River Elementary. Those brick pavers. The brick alone was probably $1 million in brick. So, not to mention the old world timbers. So, we got to leave some depth to this, right? And it's all. This is an easy process, unlike the lath ones. We had to replace the wood lath in this. This is an easy process, but you have to have a plaster. Drywallers can't use a Hawk Trowel like this. They have no clue. They don't know how to use it. Everybody says, well, what about the ladder? Well, what's wrong with using the ladder? I love using the ladder. I can move it around. Don't push too tight. All with this drywall, it's all about how dry the surface is. We want to have depth, right? But the hard work's already done. Those guys did the hard work for me, and they did the hard work for me in 1888. It's the base coat. It's all about that, the integrity of that base coat. This is over a brick, Adobe Brick. So, these walls are masterful. They're some of the best I've ever seen in my, I had a heart attack last year from the chemo, from cancer. It's my first job back. I'm a pacemaker, but I've been training a year now. I put back 30-something, because I got a good heart flow now. So my strength, muscle has memory. So do I. And I think it's outrageous what we've done to the craftsmen. especially in the state of Utah. It's disturbing, tearing down the churches, the elementary schools, these master craftsmen. It's such a spit in their face. So, I'm not going to paint over this one. And everybody says, how do you get this so smooth on your Venetian? You polish it? That's how I get it smooth. 45 years of using a trowel. 10,000 jobs later. Let's see this. I like the way it's coming. Them old dry porous walls are biting hard. So as you can see, I'm leaving some depth. You don't want no lines in it, do you? No, there are no lines in that. It's going to be beautiful. And then you paint, and the paint will actually, I like the latex, will leave, there's enough depth to paint, but you don't have to paint it. You can color your plaster. Okay, stay tuned.